Hola amigos! Oh crap, that's the wrong hat, sorry. Yeah, welcome into another video, correct? Let's get into it straight away. A couple of days ago I have recorded this video about Arch Linux and some of my opinions, right? And of course the warning was spot on from me because it was necessary. Let's go to the comments. So the guy has said, but I need the daily dopamine of the software upgrades. I guess that's a joke. It's easy to get a fresh software Debian, but it will be difficult for me to install it on hardware that is too new for it. So let's debunk this information here. Debian, in the form of its stable default version, is hardware enabled. You can use any latest kernel from backports. So that's what I did. That's what my friends did when they bought a new laptop. It works. You can get a new kernel. That's not an issue. How can you do this to us? Sarcasm. I actually don't. I understand why he said this, but the true sarcasm, like the genuine form of sarcasm, is not supposed to be announced. I'm just saying this as a friend. You should not announce your sarcasm because that kind of ruins it. It's no longer funny. I use Arch because I need one or two packages to be the latest for bug fixes that were not ready on Debian yet. But beyond that, I only update my Arch once per month. Okay, I guess this is legit. It's not like Arch is needed for this scenario, like whatsoever. But okay, I accept. You can use Fedora for this kind of scenario. Most, if not all, breakages I've had with Arch were with grub. I did not have any grub breakages on Arch, so okay. If you get a kernel upgrade or bootloader update, you better learn how to regenerate or reinstall grub. Okay, that's easy, or else you will be very unhappy. If this hasn't happened to you, you are either using system deboot. I'm not. I'm using grub, or you have been running Arch for long enough. Haven't been running Arch for long enough. I didn't have any grub issues. Sorry. So I ended up back on Arch on my main rig because it's more stable than Kubuntu. Arch being more stable than Kubuntu. Okay. Opinion is opinion, of course. Yours is as valid as mine. And then I went ahead and broke my Valent Plasma session by messing with HDR settings. I'll fix that eventually. That doesn't sound like an Arch issue at all. I only use Our for Microsoft phones. I know what you are talking about, and when I first installed Arch, I also went straight ahead to Our to get these fonts. And then I realized what I'm doing, with accessing Arch user repository, and I was like, do I really want to have Our even available for me if it's just for fonts? And there is a replacement for these fonts, so I really don't use these at all. I mostly use Flatpak on Arch, except for a few core apps I want to run natively. Yeah, that's kind of my use case. No, not exactly, but there are some really good applications, programs on desktop that are better as Flatpaks than native Arch packages. And of course, some of the native applications are really needed to be run as native, like Emacs and stuff like that. But I may just give up and set up Fedora GNOME. Yeah, that's what I meant. I use Arch because of ease of access and the support structure. I suppose that means the wiki. Arch wiki is awesome. I am coming back to Linux after not using it for 20 years. I haven't been away for that long, but I kind of I kind of feel what you're saying with with the downtime. And I tried OpenSUSE and Debian, but found some things harder to get working than I have found on Arch, mostly because I couldn't find online. Yeah, ArchWiki. I understand now. ArchWiki. Okay, ArchWiki for the win. Like, hats off for ArchWiki. Like, truly. No, cool. What person you're referring to? Okay, I know what you mean by this. I just downloaded OpenBSD on my old computer. My neighbor found in the garage thanks to your videos. Thank you. Thank you very much for watching my videos. I don't know about need, but you couldn't pay me to run Debian. Interesting take. I've tried it multiple times, just a worse experience for me all the way around than the distros I have ended up on. Well, that is the reason why we have so many of the distributions, because you need a different one than what I need. I think that's fair enough. So Gento and Void is your preferred distributions. Okay, both are rolling releases, but a bit slower than Arch. I would be using Arch now instead of Void, but I'm not for non-technical reasons. Okay, I think I know what these are. To me, as a desktop user specifically, the Debian way is just worse. This all comes without a proper explanation so far. I wouldn't compare Debian to the BSDs. I know what you mean by this, but I'm not. I didn't really compare it. Maybe I did. I know. It depends on your viewpoint. When I said I like the model of BSDs where you have a core distribution that is really stable and updates once in a while, and on top of that you get third-party applications, that kind of reminded me on Debian being updated as a feature pack once in 2 years, and in the meantime you only get security updates for Debian, and on top of that you can put flat hub. So it's not the same as on BSDs, but I do feel like there is a spiritual comparison between these. That's what I meant. I installed 14.23 BSD, not the newest release or anything. I installed the package for my graphics driver, loaded, black screen. I literally had to boot from the live CD and get it okay, so I could even boot my computer to use it. Never had that experience with Arch. When the drivers are broken for the kernel version, the repo was supplying it for. Um, I can't really comment on this because I used FreeBSD, but I did not install any drivers. It just ships with the drivers that I wanted, and it worked. So I guess I lack some experience to talk about this. For me, the FreeBSD in terms of drivers was a just works endeavor. And I'm aware that we had more of the conversation, but if the viewers of this video are interested in the remainder, they should open it on themselves. Great video. I use Fedora, by the way. Great stuff. Running Ubuntu 22. Interesting. As a server, and a daily check for updates, and I'm always a bit disappointed if there are no updates. Well, if you're running Ubuntu as a server, you can run a live patching functionality. Not sure if you knew about that, but if you're running a server, there is a good chance that you already know about that. So you can use live patching functionality, which will give you the ability to automatically patch some of the security issues with your computer without any need to reboot. So that's a good stopgap between your reboots. I don't know what the word is for saying something that is staged a lot of time apart. How do you say that in English? In a VM, I run Kali Linux. Why do you use Kali in a VM? That doesn't make sense. Kali is supposed to be run from a USB stick. And the first thing after starting the VM, I have to do the update and upgrade, and there are always updates. I don't understand anyone who uses Kali as a permanently installed operating system. That's not what Kali is for. That makes me happy. Oh, okay. Uh, okay. For me, Arch Linux is a necessity. Okay, this is good. My daily driver for 2+ years. I live in a third world shithole that can't seem to go more than a month without some electricity or water outage. So Arch is helping me with electricity or water outages. Arch lets me start from a clean base and install only what I need, which makes my updates smaller and I don't use full desktop environment. So basically you are describing a net install of almost any Linux distribution, like Debian net install, and whatever other distributions. I don't understand what is Arch doing here that is different from Debian net install. FreeBSD release version came out approximately once per year, sometimes 6 months, but there are been patches for kernel and base, and for the base. For example, currently actual blah 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 blah. Sorry for skipping. Okay, so the guy explains what FreeBSD works like. The thing I don't like about Debian is the way libs are linked. Software built on Debian works only on Debian and derivatives and nowhere else. I guess that falls under preference. I really don't have anything against the way libs work on Debian. I mean, um, I like the idea of all of the software packages, all of the 60,000 software packages being designed in a way that they all share this particular libraries in this particular distribution. This is what makes it as stable as it can be. So from this perspective, I think I am contrary to your beliefs. I never felt any fear of missing out or any other mental disorder like that. I like how you phrased this. I need my computers for work and I am absolutely happy with the Debian 12. As for Ubuntu, I have a suspicion that Canonical makes it buggy on purpose. Um, okay, okay, good stuff. This one I agrees. Good stuff. An update a year. Maybe you were the last customer of Netware. I was not. I was not. I never understood why anyone would use a trolling release Linux distribution. This type has become even more irrelevant since app images and flatpaks became available. As you said, there's always the option to quickly compile the newest kernel for driver support if needed. I use Slackware, by the way. Kudos to you, good sir, for sticking with Slackware. These are the original Linux users, like truly based Linux users. I have much respect for anyone who actually sticks with Slackware. I'm not saying that I'm the one who uses Slackware. I just have a lot of respect for everyone who still does that because truly based users, truly based users. By the way, I did mention it already, but you can use a backported kernel from Debian for the hardware enablement. Same as with the LTS release of Ubuntu. I use Fedora because I want the latest software and package for development. And also for driver hardware support and performance. Okay, I already, I'm not gonna repeat myself on drivers, but this is not what Fedora and Arch are unique for. I wonder if that could change anything. Plus, will I miss my almost daily sudo DNF upgrade refresh dopamine screen? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Do you really need this rush of dopamine? I fully understand this. I am a victim of this dopamine addiction as well. I'm really trying to quit. I'm really trying to quit this, and it's not easy. I'm still running Arch, like genuinely. Like I have fast fetch. Oh, that's not the server. There we go. I'm still running Arch. Contrary to what this video may make you feel to believe. But I use my computers as toys, kinda. This is my special interest. In that case, you maybe you should switch to Fedora Rawhide. It's even more bleeding edge than Arch Linux is. Like seriously, try Fedora Rawhide. It's a lot ahead of Arch Linux. One of my favorite Linux YouTubers, great video man as always. Thank you very much, Anderson. The Flatpaks you're installing from FlatHub are not actual Debian to a greater extent than our packages are not actual Arch. Pedro, uh, I suppose you're talking about my comparison, but here's the thing. The stuff that I installed that I install beyond the core distribution that I use, whether it's Arch Linux with its 9,000 packages or Debian with its 60,000 packages, whatever I install beyond that is a matter of trust. That's it. From FlatHub, I don't install a shitload of stuff. I only install a couple of things that first must have a checkmark. And I'm not saying that I trust the checkmark. I'm saying that checkmark is the prerequisite for me to install anything from FlatHub. What checkmark gives me? Checkmark gives me a chance to verify this upload on FlatHub against a web page. Then I go to the web page and see if this is the web page of the author that I am ready to put my trust into. So as I already said in my previous video, stuff like bottles, OBS, and etc. These are the stuff that I'm willing to put my trust into and install them from FlatHub. From a different perspective on our, I can put my trust into some of the packages that I want to install from our. I can look it up, what it does, stuff like that. But it's a rather recursive process which takes a shitload of time if you want to check all of the other our dependencies. It just takes a lot of time to analyze what is it that this our script is doing exactly. And then some of them are even binary packages. It's not comparable. I'm not arguing which one is better for you. I'm just saying it's not actually comparable. Open Mandriva Rock is basically a yearly Debian stable style release. Well, that's a good one. That's a good example of a distribution that is the reason why I stopped is because the rolling the quote unquote rolling distribution of Open Mandriva is actually better in my opinion. They update roughly once a month, and you keep getting newer stuff. but you're not entangled into having like 50, 100 or 200 packages having to update every day. I think the Mandriva open Mandriva version that updates like once per month is a better choice than Rock. However, depending on your use case, I'm talking from my own perspective, right? I am definitely not talking into any of your names, just for myself. If you need something that is not going to be changed for a year, then yeah, Rock is awesome. I am not very familiar into how OpenMandriva Rock handles security updates because does anyone know how OpenMandriva handles security updates? I really don't know. Uh, the Rock one, I mean Debian has security updates all of the time. Debian stable has security updates all of the time. So from that perspective, you can be sure that you are fully patched along the way of your 2-year voyage. With OpenMandriva Rock, I don't have an answer. I would appreciate if someone can give it to me. I would call OpenMandriva ROM maybe conservative rolling. Fair enough. I think OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is similar as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm an LTS guy and haven't used Arch for an age. But recently I have ventured into OpenMandriva ROM on my laptop and it's running very well. I'm very pleased. Ubuntu LTS on my desktop and servers, though I won't be changing anytime soon, I think. Good. The only way to keep a distribution to be stable is just create your own version based on a functional arch and don't update it. Create another ISO and la la la. Bernardo, I have actually been thinking about creating my own distribution. Well, purely for myself and see where this goes from there. I would love to learn how to build it. This is just a passing thought that I have had for the past week, but it will not be based on Arch. Flatpak is bloat, brother. And if you run hardware that doesn't have perfect drivers like me with my sound card, you need at least bleeding edge software to get those fixes as fast as you can. I had software updates that are unnecessary, but for hardware updates, I always welcome them as fast as I can. I suppose you are talking about NVIDIA. That certainly sounds like that. So while you can get NVIDIA drivers on Debian, I think you're talking about Wayland and stuff like that. So that's unfortunate that NVIDIA users are being subjected to such issues on Linux. But someday this is going to pass. Someday this is going to be better for NVIDIA users as well. Just admit your arch broke. Just kidding, good video. Thank you very much. Gen 2 is also unnecessary, but without considering it, the scene is incomplete. I agree. Just use Fedora, guys. Fedora is not rolling release, but it contains most up-to-date software like rolling release distros. While Fedora does have a rolling release version, the regular Fedora is not a rolling release, that's correct, but contains most up-to-date software. You are talking about the GNOME desktop environment, I believe, because most of the software on Fedora is not always up-to-date. Check Emacs packages. They are not up-to-date. I don't need all the latest features, but every time I see something cool and want to try it, I get seriously disappointed or even annoyed when my distribution does not package it or has an old version. Whew. Mostly this is about my recent experiences with reworking my ZSH Tmax NVMe configs and then trying to transfer them to a Debian system, a toy Raspberry Pi in this case. The feature is not supported. Okay, this is a long one, and I don't want to make my video too long, but I see where this is going. You need a latest tools which Flathub or Flatpaks cannot give you. So in some cases, these things can be backported in Debian. I do that with Emacs because I kind of want to have the latest Emacs. I don't need it, but it's practical to have it. So I admit that some of these packages are need to have around. However, there is a solution called DistroBox, which can handle some of these, which can mitigate some of these issues which you're talking about. It just comes down to whether you want to handle these scenarios with DistroBox or you prefer your distribution to handle these for you. The Arch user repository and the wiki will forever make it superior, regardless of what you have to say. Of course, my opinion is just my opinion. It's perfectly valid, just as your opinion is. We are equal in this. There is also so much older niche software that is not available on other distros. H Office, for example. I have no clue what H Office is. Packages, Arch, Linux, H Office, zero matching packages found. H Office, let's see what that is. Microsoft 365, H Office Pro. Is this it? I don't think it is. I have no clue what H Office is, but clearly it's not available in Arch Linux. Let's check Debian packages, Debian org. Package Debian org. Why is it not opening? Debian H Office. Debian is having some issues. Let's go here. I think this is my Debian apt search H Office. Nothing found. Okay. I have no clue what you're talking about. I mean the H Office thing. Necessary or unnecessary is not a good argument. Well, I kind of agree that it's not an argument at all. It will always be based on a use case. Atom Newton just subscribed. Interesting. And I'm recording this offline. It will always be based on a use case basis that any choice will ever make sense. And for most people who want to experience the latest benefits that Linux has to offer, plus learn more than average about Linux, Arch is a good choice. I agree with you. Arch is a good choice if you want to learn more than average about Linux. However, if you want to learn a lot about Linux, then you will use Slackware and not Arch Linux. Arch Linux is way too easy. Never cared for Arch Linux. Really, Debian, Rocky Linux, OpenMandriva, Rock are solid stable distros. I need tool and not a toy. This is also a valid standpoint. I am not a teenager who wants to experiment with PCs anymore. Sure, I can set up Arch on something on laptop for experiments, but not on my main PC that I'm working on doing YouTube videos. So this is also a YouTuber, or he's talking about me. I don't mind you talking slow. Thank you very much. Okay. For anyone who wants a good balance between a non-toy distribution and having a toy available for him or her, there is always DistroBox. Only Nix users think this way. I'm not a Nix user. Never tried it because they don't have package managers to download apps. I prefer rolling in general, but don't necessarily need the absolute latest. The sweet spot for me is Gentoo, Tumbleweed, and Void. These are all a little behind in some ways. Some things are up to date, but generally I update once or twice a week as a rule of thumb. Gentoo can be as bleeding edge or as stable as you want. Ironically, the stable profiles are more up to date than the experimental ones. Alright, I have learned to dread system updates as of lately. This is something that Linux distributions need to work on. People should not dread system updates. I updated Artix and MPD just stopped working. Yeah, I had similar experiences with Arch Linux. They just go head first against the latest version, and then it doesn't work anymore. Also, following software release on RSS, I noticed a pattern. Version X.X gets released. Okay, I understand. The patches that fix things. I prefer stable distributions like Debian and OpenMandriva Rock. And for few programs that I need for latest versions, I use an app image. Fair enough, fair enough. The guy is definitely a Fedora spy. Could be. Could be. I use Windows and Fedora 42. 42? 42? Ah, that's the latest one. Yeah, sorry. I mixed them up with the GNOME versions. It's a complicated relationship. No, it's not. No, it's not. If you feel that you need Windows, all good, brother. All good. No, it's not lame to learn something new. Definitely not. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but if you're referring to something that I have said in my video, it's good to put a timestamp in the beginning of your reply. That way, it's a little bit easier for me to understand what you're referring to. What about OpenSUSE's slow roll? It updates once a month. Still beta, by the way. I have no experience with that one. There are way too many Linux distributions for me to have a legit opinion on. And by legit, I mean a proper length of experience. I run Arch, Debian, and Ubuntu. Debian is for my Pi-hole because it's rather stable, and I need my Pi-hole to be super stable. Ubuntu for my backup server because it's easy, and my backup server doesn't need to be as stable as the Pi-hole. Arch is for my gaming rig because I like to customize things, but also because it helps me learn Linux on a deeper level. Okay, I think I understand where you're coming from. You're definitely not ready for Slackware, but Arch definitely gives you a step above into understanding Linux beyond the easy distributions such as Ubuntu. I used Ubuntu since 2006, I guess, then moved to Xubuntu, so you're still on Ubuntu. I kind of stopped using Linux when Canonical started pushing snaps, and I only came back 2 years ago. It was like meeting an old friend. I decided to try Arch, and I think it's great. I never had any big issues with it, but I decided to try Debian, and it was love at first sight. So interesting how everyone seems to be confirming my opinion that Arch is like a step above Ubuntu in terms of how easy or complex as a distribution it is. So it's definitely less easy than Ubuntu, but it's like a step above. and definitely not for elite Linux users that pretend to be, Linux hackers. I'm not saying this as a derogatory term towards Arch. Um, Arch is a good distribution. I'm just debunking the well spread opinion that Arch is difficult in a way that it makes you feel special and proud that you have managed to, install it. Arch is a level 2 distribution, definitely not level 10. I've watched the first 2 minutes or so, but the rambling is a bit much for me. Fair enough. Shorter edited videos could help your retention if you care. Either way, my thoughts on the general premise, the stability of Debian is preferred right until you actually need the most recent version of some things, such as if it contains a critical bug fix for your configuration workflow. Yeah, okay, I actually can feel this. I did have some bugs on Debian that were not critical for my workflow, but they did annoy me. The bugs. Not Debian bugs, but bugs in software that Debian simply refused to update because of the way that they work. At that point, getting the version through a poorly maintained there are no PPAs on Debian. This is the Ubuntu thing, but I know what you meant. Or building from source can be both result in instability for other applications using that software on the same system. This can create a pretty ugly mess to fix. Debian is amazing until it isn't. Arch is amazing until it isn't. You give up something for either, so a compromise. It's really a case-by-case basis which is better. Good luck with your channel. Thank you very much. I think I agree with everything that you said here. That's it. Edutainment, education plus entertainment. I find your channel is high edutainment. Thank you very much. Where are we now with recording this video? 37 minutes. I applaud you if you're still watching this. I really do. After about 15 years ago, when I started using Linux, no Debian system I tried was able to make use of my GPU. I remember those days. Not after tinkering for hours, but especially not out of the box. Only Arch allowed for its use after hours of work. Reading through guides on their wiki and thanks to the user repository, I never tried switching since that. I only used MX Linux for a short while after that. It impressed me because it was absolutely flawless. Um, well, Linux distributions, all of them came a long way. A long way. They came a long way. So a lot of Linux distributions are pretty much very close to just works model, and this is why Debian is only now being a really good choice, while it wasn't back in the day. On my gaming PC, I find Arch to be ideal. I think I had one catastrophic failure updating requiring USB boot in the past 10 years. Quite stable. But I feel Debian is even more stable, so it's what I have on my laptop. Arch works surprisingly well for what it is. It's nearly perfect. It's an amazing example of collective work. When you say collective work, you are most certainly talking about user repository here, I think. I'm not disregarding your opinion in any way. It's just that when I think about the distribution, I always think about the packages that the distribution developers are making. When anyone talks to me about Arch Linux, I never consider the user repository. I'm just like that. You can't get that out of me. I just don't see it as a part of Arch Linux. I don't know why. I just I just can't connect these two and say this is a part of Arch Linux. Like, what is the name of the our for Ubuntu? I don't even remember the name. Paxtal, yeah. So uh, there is this thing that is not very well maintained, but it is supposed to be something similar that Arch users are doing for Arch with their our, but this is supposed to be for Ubuntu. And nobody really mentions Paxtel as a part of Ubuntu because it's not. But it works in the same way as Arch user repository. The only downside is that it's not very well maintained. It's just not. But a premise of this is basically the same as Arch user repository. I always thought the hour was meant to be Arch's answer to something like Flatpak. I think so as well. I think so as well. It's basically a way to get software that isn't available in the main repos. A lot of Arch users seem to promote it as one of the main reasons to use Arch. Yes, I noticed this as well. Though I get why some might be hesitant since the packages are user generated, or at least that's my limited understanding of it. I only really used Arch to experiment with Hyperland. Yeah, that's a good reason to use Arch Linux. Um, um, yeah, yeah. As for Debian, I really wish they had more regular release schedule. Well, Debian developers maintain like 6 or 7 times more packages than Arch developers do. So it's not very easy to. You need a whole army of people to maintain all this. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure how feasible it would be for Debian to switch to 4 times more frequent releases. I'm just not sure how feasible that would be. I'm not sure even if it is needed. Um, Maybe for the packages that are not available in the Flatpak form, maybe that's the future for Debian, so that the developers can concentrate just on the base packages, uh, that are not possible as Flatpaks. Maybe then they will be able to ramp up the cadence of the base OS versions. I just don't know. Arch is the buffer that keeps LTS releases secure. The people using Arch are basically beta testers, with the upside being that they get features early. Well, that's it. Yeah, that's it. The opinion warning always required for the Redditor friends. I don't use Reddit. I have a very bad opinion on Reddit. I have no clue what you're talking about. I can imagine what you mean by this. I just don't know. I'm thinking of stepping away from computers entirely for a while now. Nah, just step away from Reddit, and you'll be fine. Step away from Reddit and Mastodon, and you will be good. Which part of our you don't understand? For Debian, I have to fish around website to find working deb files for my Clevo-based notebook, fans and stuff to work. For Fedora, it's not even working. For Arch, I just go paru tuxedo and everything I would need are there, and update if necessary. So I suppose this is our helper, Arch Paro, because I don't know. Paro. Paro feature packed our help. Yeah, okay, it's our okay. I used a different one when I tried Arch user repository, but yeah. So the Tuxedo user package. Let me check it out. Our Arch. Okay, package search Tuxedo. Tuxedo. Where is the main package for Tuxedo? Tuxedo. There is no such package. Did he say I just go Paru Tuxedo? That doesn't seem to be the case. There is no such package called Tuxedo. So there are other packages here. I see them, but not the Tuxedo one. Tuxedo drivers, Tuxedo control center, Tuxedo drivers. Let's go with the last one. Tuxedo drivers dependencies. So it depends on another hour package and on another hour package. So we need to check all of them. And then we have control center, which depends on another hour package and another hour package, 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 another hour package. So I have to go around all of these packages and check all of their install scripts to see. And this one depends on more hour packages. So I'm already getting very annoyed because in order for me to trust the first package that I clicked, that was called Tuxedo Drivers DKMS, I have to check what the install script is doing. This is just me. I cannot blindly trust this Anthrax person who is supposed to be poisoning me. I'm just kidding. I cannot trust this person. I have no clue who this is. I just don't know. I have to check the install script. The install script will tell me what this package is doing, and then I'm going to trust the package. However, this install script depends on 15 more hour packages. I have to check each and every single one of these install scripts because I don't trust any of these people. None of them. Like, read my lips. None of them. I don't know why you trust all these people, but you do you, I'll do me. After I check all of the recursively linked install scripts, and when I decide to trust all of these packages, all of these install scripts, then I'm going to go recursively into every one of these. It's going to branch out quite a lot. And I just don't have time to do this. It's very annoying. I don't care about Arch user repository. You do you. You go ahead, trust Arch user repository if you want to do that blindly. You go ahead and spread your knowledge that Arch is amazing because random people are uploading packages into it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate the efforts of these people that submit into the Arch user repository. I am 99% sure that they have your and mine best interest in their heart. I am absolutely not even thinking that they are doing anything malicious. I actually believe that they are truly doing a very good service to the Linux community and especially to the Arch community. I just don't trust any of them. None of them. I use Debian, by the way. Solid. The FOMO aspect really doesn't make sense. I never fully committed to Linux. I'm still on Windows, but every time I see a discussion on different Linux OS, I only see arguments about which version is superior to another. Mind you, I'm not saying that Debian is superior to Arch Linux. Not saying that. The way I have Windows configured, it has worked the same for 10 years. In the future, it may be different. I really like what you said about computers. They are made to do the things we want them to do. Yes, and I'm going to continue saying this. They are our servants. Honestly, I've used Ubuntu Debian distros for nearly a decade. I always wanted to giving others a shot, but never enough that I've actually bothered to put Arch, Red Hat, etc. derivative on a computer that I actually used. Fair enough. Stick with what works for you. Common sense video. Thank you very much. Linux user may need to look in the mirror and decide what is best for the platform. Personally, I call it Linux ecosystem, not particularly a platform, but I see what you mean. As a whole, most of us are probably validated by the fact that we don't use Windows. I don't need validation. The reason why I use Linux is because the computer is my servant. What I say is what my computer needs to do. If my computer refuses to do what I want, I can't even consider it to be a computer. This includes Windows and macOS. They just refuse to do what I tell them to do. So these are not computers. That's why I wouldn't say that I'm forced to use Linux because there is also FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and stuff like that. But out of all of the operating systems that do my bidding, Linux is the most convenient one. So that's where I'm at. I don't even feel validated. It's just a tool that does my bidding. The rest is icing on the cake. Be thankful for what you got. I am thankful. I have been enjoying Cache for a while. Good, good. I saw a nigga in an Arch Linux t-shirt and now this video got recommended to me. What are the gods of computing trying to tell me? It looks like I failed in responding to this one. I apologize. What are the gods of computing trying to tell me? I suppose you're not a Linux user by the way this comment is phrased. And you are most welcome in our Linux community. If you have questions, join my Matrix room, which is linked. I have been rambling for almost an hour. Apologize for my voice breaking up. But yeah, if you need help with Linux, come and ask your questions. I'll do my best to help you out. Most things are unnecessary. Arch is for those that like it. Leave them alone. Leave them alone. You are as bad as an Arch user. Thank you. I don't use Arch for bleeding edge. I use Arch for its hour. Okay, I'm skipping this one. I also distro hopped for a while. Arch, when configured, is the most stable in my experience. There is one thing I tend to cling on, and this is when I use a certain distribution, I tend to use it until it no longer is able to do what I want. Arch is teasing me a lot, and by teasing, I don't mean it as a nice word. I mean it as a bad word. Arch is testing my patience, but I'm still here. I'm still an Arch user. Arch is going to have to do something worse to me in order to quit. I just don't have the patience to switch to distro hop on my main computer all of the time. Once I configure it, if it works, and Arch still mostly works for me. Some of the things that Arch doesn't do properly, I replaced with Flatpak distribution. Pardon me, Flat Hub distribution. But other than that, I'm still good with Arch Linux. It's just that the more I use Flat Hub distribution, the less Arch Linux need I have. It's kind of shifting. LTS distros are fine if you use older software that is already well established. If you insist on using something like Hyperland or really anything Wayland, then I feel like Bleeding Edge is the way to go. You can backport Wayland into Debian bookworm. There is a Wayland package in the backports, if that's the only thing that you need. But of course, Wayland needs to be bundled with something that actually is a Wayland compositor, right? So you would as well need Hyperland in backports, which is not available in backports. Software in very active development will just feel way more buggy on LTS due to long update windows if the software even is in the repos. Yes. I have been talking for so long that I'm starting to lose my breath. Like, seriously. I hope I'm near the end of the comments, because otherwise I'm gonna have to cut this video in two. So I am an IT support and system admin for about 27 years, been using Windows for about 32 years, and literally been virtual machine testing all types of Linux. But I'm a gamer and I upload YouTube videos. I need DaVinci Resolve to work. Linux Mint was good for basic tasks, but that Resolve install was a pain. Enter Fedora and Nobara. Okay, okay. I see where this is leading. I did not test Nobara. I don't have an opinion of it. But I have seen a lot of people praising it, and I'm sure that the glorious Eggroll is doing a fine job into customizing Fedora for you guys. Let me see how many more comments are there. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this video in half now. I'm gonna cut this video in half and gonna finish it maybe tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see about that. See you.